I was a fan of Richard Ford's. I had just read a book of short stories of his called Rock Springs, and I was sort of looking for something that was in the same style of language. It's just like a type of writing that I really love, which is kind of spare, strong, kind of lean. And I saw this book, Wildlife, and started reading it, and pretty quickly felt like, I wonder if there's like a film here. Thought about it for a year, then finally wrote a first draft, and then Zoe just kind of tore apart my first draft and destroyed all my confidence as a first-time writer. And then she was like, why don't you let me do a pass? And I said, great. And then we just traded it back and forth. And so we never wrote together in the same room ever. We'd like sit down and talk for like 2 hours, and then one of us would take it. And it was actually a great way to work. I don't know if she would do it again. I would definitely do it again.
The thing for me that jumped out immediately was it reminded me of that feeling when you listen to a song that you listened to when you broke up with your boyfriend when you were 18. And I remember listening to Fix You by Coldplay when I was 21, like sitting on the floor in my like studio apartment sobbing and a bit drunk, and the whole world was about that moment. And then you hear that song 10 years later, or maybe a less recognizable song, one that, you know, and suddenly it takes you straight back to that moment, and you have that feeling of like whiplash where you think, where did those years go? That's crazy. And now I'm this grown up and I have children and my whole life has taken this route. And I think she has that feeling, but is suddenly completely terrified that it's all not been the right way to go. So she's just trying out all these versions of who she might have been had her life taken a different path. And that was the bit that sort of was so exciting to me. Like, I fall into pitfalls all the time and going down rabbit holes of insecurity and not backing my choices. And Paul was really so embarrassing talking about your friend. Anyway, Paul was brilliant at like identifying when I was in those bits and getting me out of it. And I think that's because he's such an instinctive actor, but also a really empathetic human. So he can see when people need to be lifted or helped, or and he's a brilliant actor and he understands actors. So I think there is a dialogue there that maybe you don't always necessarily get with an actor, with a director who hasn't got an experience of acting.